Hello. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as the Songbird, and you have come to Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks. I'll be handling the chat tonight, so please chat with us. I'll pass it on to Beth, and she can talk directly to you.
Absolutely. And if you aren't here live today, you can always make a comment afterwards whenever you watch the show, and I will always respond.
Yes.
So, tonight we have a very important topic, and it's going to be a series. This is going to be a series about the ego, how it operates, what it really is, why is it important, how we can liberate ourselves from it. So the ego is a topic that I have been studying for a long time, my own and everyone else's.
Yeah.
And it's clearly a critical time in human history where we need to stop just thinking about our individual selves and begin to understand ourselves as part of a whole. So this is all part of overcoming the domination of the ego. So tonight, I'm going to start with an overview. And the show is called Empowering Ourselves, Not Our Egos, Part 1, an overview.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be doing, giving an overview about the ego on this show. And the next weeks, I'm going to be laying it out in depth, in detail, and I hope that you watch the whole thing and that you benefit from it and that you participate in your comments during the show or after the show. And because we need one another to make a change in our nation, in our homes, in ourselves, on our planet.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so first I want to tell you that this work is based on a book that is called Living with Reality. And here we go, Living with Reality. It's by me. You can see
Who we are, what we can be, and how we get there.
now this book, you could buy it from Amazon for $36 in paperback.
Yes.
But we are giving it away for free in PDF form on our network, healingartsnetwork.org. The link to the Healing Arts Network is in the in our post. So once you've heard this, if you're interested, you can go to the Healing Arts Network. You can go to the Transformation channel and look at. No, is it in the Transformation channel? No, it's in the gosh.
Making Sense of the World.
Making Sense of the World channel. Thank you. And there you can download or read this book free of charge. And in the Transformation channel, you have there's a self-study program that you can use. This book is set up for people to read alone or together in great depth. It's a very massive book, but it's very easy to read and very easy to understand. So before we go forward, let's say hello to our...
Yes, Tracy has come on board and says hello and sends caring. Same back at you, Tracy.
Yes.
Thank you. And Amy says, thank you for starting this series.
Thank you both. Hello, Tracy, and thanks for saying that, Amy. Appreciate it. And we hope that you will tell other people about this series. You can always send them, the link to this show, or you can share this program. And this program is also archived on our Healing Arts Network. So you're not going to miss it.
I just want to share that I used to think I knew what ego was, but what Beth has delved into is far, far deeper, more pervasive than we usually think of when we think of ego. It's so much more.
Thank you for saying that. And we have another hi.
And Todd says hi, and he sends caring and happiness. Thank
Hello,
you.
Todd.
Joy.
So glad you're here.
Same back at you.
That's a very good point. A lot of people think ego is about snobbishness. Oh, he's in. Oh, and look, Blanquita also.
Blanquita says hello, Beth and James, and sends 2 hearts of love.
Muchas gracias,
Muchas
Blanquita.
gracias.
So I wish someone would translate that book into Spanish.
Yeah.
Because it could be very helpful. People all over the world have read this book. Oh, and look.
Oh, and Catalina says hi. Well, hi back at you, Catalina. Thanks
Catalina.
for joining us.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so a lot of people think, oh, ego is snobbishness or I'm better than you, and that is an aspect of ego, but it is just a very small aspect. So first I want to put it in perspective. What is the ego? Where does it come from? And then I want to give you some tips right away on this show, even though it's only part 1, about not letting it overcome you and dominate you. So in the book, I define the ego as the awareness of individual existence. So at some point, we're in the womb and we're like goo goo gaga and everything is being taken care of and we're part of our mothers and our mothers are part of us. And, we don't have any sense of ourselves as distinct and separate because we aren't distinct and separate at that point. But then we start growing and, moving around and, we're moving around and mom isn't necessarily that happy about it. And then comes the fateful day when we are born. Now, when we are born, all of a sudden our needs are not taken care of automatically and we're going to have to start the fight. Fight. The first fight for our needs to be met is wah, wah, right? I need this, I need that, I need. And this thing is going right into my mouth. Let's try this. Well, it's certainly reasonable. We do need all of those things, and we are absolutely helpless. So we have to get other people to take care of us. Mm-hmm. I need to be changed. I need food. I need to burp. I need
attention.
I need my diaper changed and all of that stuff. So what are we seeing? All of a sudden, life is a struggle. For many of us, life wasn't that much of a struggle before. Some people had a struggle, like if their mothers are smoking or, using drugs or alcohol, or they're hungry, or they don't have enough, nutrition. But now we are on our own and we have to demand. So now we are aware that we are separate. We are no longer a part of the mother. Well, think about the shock of that. Boing! Suddenly I have to, and it's kind of fun too. I get to express myself. I get to express all my feelings. Wah, 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 I need this, I need that. And I am becoming cognitively aware of the fact that I am a separate being. Now, am I really a separate being? Well, not really. In other parts of the book, I talk about oneness and how we are really one. But I don't want to complicate things right now. I really want to take on the ego. So it certainly feels like we are totally separate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm cold, you're warm. I have a bellyache, you're feeling good.
I'm hungry, I want that milk.
That's right. And I'm not worried about Mom because she's just going to have to get up in the middle of the night. It's too bad. Too bad, Mom. So it's my awareness of my individual existence, which is the beginning of the ego, that I am alone and I have to fight for myself and I have to struggle. Now, as we grow up, and there's a lot more about this in the book, and I don't want to get too much into this part, but I really want to start out in some kind of a way. We very quickly begin to figure out how to get our needs met.
Mm-hmm.
Every little doggy knows. We have a little doggy, and every time James is cooking dinner, she goes, "Eh, eh, 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 eh."
She's
She
suddenly so adorable. Or
so
he's so adorable.
so
Both of
adorable
them.
and so little gentle whimper. She's not out there barking her head off. I want food. She's going. So she has figured out that her best strategy to get what she needs is to whimper, whimper, whimper. Now, my dog, on the other hand, for whatever reason, I don't know why, because we adopted these two dogs, so we don't know what their background was. His idea is woof, woof. He's not very big, but he lets you know he's there. Woof. I want food. I want food. I want food. Now, here we have an example of two different strategies for the same purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? One strategy is to be cute and innocent and weak and, oh, help me. And the other one is,
A cute baby.
yes, and this is to demand your attention.
Wah! I want my food.
No, he goes woof, woof,
Oh, well,
woof.
this
woof,
applies
woof,
to
woof,
humans
woof.
too. The very same way.
Oh, exactly. So let's say you're born into a family with many children, and your mother is very tired, and she doesn't have enough help. How are you going to get her attention? How are you going to get her to drop everything, including taking care of herself? Like she just was about to take a nap, but you're hungry. So it's like, "Wee, wee." So what do? So everybody develops strategies to get their needs met. And this, my friends, is very simply,
I'm sorry, very what?
very simply the beginning of the construct that we call the ego. You see, the ego is really nothing more than a series of patterns of behavior that we have developed from infancy in order to get our needs met. So some babies discover that mommy responds well to guilt. And believe me, they figure this out pretty fast. I'm not saying they're sitting there and saying, oh, mommy is responding to guilt, but they feel it, they sense it, they figure it out. They make themselves look desperate. Others find that mommy responds well to flattery. Goo goo. You're so wonderful, mommy. So, and it goes on and on. Now, it may not be mommy. It may be, in this family, daddy or grandpa or an older sister who really resents taking care of us. But, oh, we're so adorable. What can she do, right? Anyway, we start developing strategies to take, and these strategies become more and more complex and deeply ingrained in us as we compete with everybody and everything around us, including the needs of our caregivers. So we have started to develop the ego. Now, have you noticed that the ego is there for survival? This is not something we sat there and said, I'm going to be a bad person. I'm just going to be selfish and self-centered. So I'm going to create an ego. No, it's just a natural thing that happens to us as we develop these survival strategies, and they become more and more ingrained. And believe it or not, that's where it all begins. So you will find people as adults, some of them are going to make you feel guilty about taking care of yourself when they need something. Haven't you ever met anybody who really plays on guilt? Guilt trips you. Even your mother might be guilt tripping you. I mean, parents have egos too. Believe me, it's ego
Poor
versus
me. Poor me.
it's ego versus ego versus ego versus ego. It's all these patterns of behavior fighting one another. You think it's people, but it's really not. It's actually patterns of behavior that are in conflict with one another. So the one who learns to, now, if your parent responds to something, that is going to reinforce and reinforce and reinforce whatever pattern you got. If your parents or your caregiver changes, oh my God, If your parent doesn't respond to that anymore, you got to figure out another way. And if you suddenly don't have that parent anymore, you've got a whole different story. You know, you used to be your mother's darling, but your stepmother doesn't think very much of you because she's too busy competing with you for dad, or she's got her own children that she really prefers, or whatever it is. So suddenly, I got to develop some new strategies. Well, I tell you, it's amazing how long these strategies last. You know, some of us never change, even though these strategies stopped working a long time ago. Some of us get into scaring people. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But you know, the people they frighten you. That's their way of getting their needs met. We've seen this in so many people. So anyway, so you say, well, is that all there is to the ego? Why do I need a series on this? All I need to do is, look at some babies. Well, there's some truth to that. But it is more complicated than that, because these patterns become so ingrained in us, and we don't even know it.
That is true.
We just think that we're having the inevitable response. You know, we say, oh, well, naturally we are feeling this way. We don't even realize that, no, it's not natural, it's conditioned. And it's conditioned based on what the society that we're in responds to.
We have another comment. Vasily of Ukraine says, "Good morning, friends. Glad to hear and listen to you."
Thank you,
Big
Vasily.
hi. Thank you.
Anyone who comes on now, you can always repeat the show and hear the beginning, because I'm giving you the overview of the ego and where it comes from. So basically, ego comes from our instinct to get our needs met as individuals. Now, the ego never says, but I'm part of the oneness. The ego always bases itself on separation. I am not you, so I don't have to worry. So mommy is falling on her face and she's exhausted, but I'm still hungry. Mommy, 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 mommy. You know, it just sounds like a siren sometimes. Mommy.
Plus, if you have siblings, you're competing to have your needs met instead of theirs.
Exactly. So now we're seeing that there is a basis and foundation for this. Again, sometimes that pattern is reinforced over and over, and then it becomes harder and harder to get rid of. But the truth of the matter is that we are not individuals with individual needs. We only think we are. So, for example, if we could smarten up, we would realize that a well mother, a not tired mother, would be a much better mother. But we're so this is an infantile response. It starts in infancy, and we don't think that way. So later on in our lives, we may say, oh, mommy is really tired. I think she better take a nap, and then I'll ask her to make me food, right? Now, how many 2-year-olds have that kind of awareness? They don't. We have to teach children to overcome their egos and to say, honey, I know you're hungry, and it's a terrible thing, but can you just wait, because mommy needs to take a nap, and then I'll come and I'll feed you. No! You know, that's like saying we can't afford that toy. No!
Right.
Right? So the ego is extremely childish. Now, have ever you seen yourself being childish?
Others see it.
Often.
Then they give us feedback. Says, "Oh, uh-oh."
Right.
I didn't look good. I didn't look so good.
We
there,
didn't
did
look
I?
so good. We look selfish and self-centered because we are. And our society does not teach very well this fundamental principle that everyone needs to be well for anyone to be well. You know, where it's like every every family, every person, every race, every religion for themselves. For us. For us. I mean,
That's a recipe for conflict.
It is. And you know what happens is, yes, for us, that we think that's a lot if we include other people in our own family or other people in our town or other Republicans or Democrats or other, we can't even get it together to stop fighting one another. Anyway, all right, so now, what is the problem with this little ego creature? It is unconscious, it is narrow-minded, it's self-centered, it is self-defeating. Because ultimately, we cannot survive if we keep being this way. There is an aphorism, which is like just a saying that I got from God, which is, you cannot clean the air over one house in Los Angeles. So think about air pollution. And you say, well, I'm going to go into my air-conditioned house, or I'm going to be in my tower, or I'm going to go get my cabin in the woods. I'm going to get away. But you know what happens in that cabin in the woods? And we are not taking care of the forest, and suddenly we have climate change, and we've got forest fires, and now the air in our cabin in the woods is no good anymore. And I don't care how rich you are. The air is bad in a lot of places, right? But we haven't learned that yet, and the primary reason is that the ego has learned from the beginning to go for number one. So this is destroying us. This is destroying us, and we keep feeding it. I need the scholarship. I need this. I need that. I need that. And when my needs are met, then I can worry about you. And I understand that because I'm exactly the same way. You know, I need air conditioning. I need a house. I need warmth. I need a grand piano. I need this. I need that. And and after I'm done with everything, then I'm going to worry about the homeless guy. Oh, no, no, then I'll worry about James. And then maybe I'll worry about my clients or whatever. Anyway, this is just the beginning. But the other thing that I want to say to you real quick tonight is that even when we start to become more mature, and this is a question of maturation, that we begin to understand things more as they really are, we have to take care of other species as well as ourselves. We are losing biodiversity, all of that stuff that is impacting us, the climate that's impacting us, it's all impacting us. No! But no matter how much we see this, we seem to tend to go back to the egoic way of being. And I'm going to tell you one of the tricks that the ego has. Our emotions are the gateway to the ego. Mm-hmm. Now, I've talked before, and I probably will talk again about how all of our emotions are natural. I am hungry, I am fearful, I am hurt, I am worried, I am angry because something is wrong, something is hurting me, I haven't eaten in a week. There are all kinds of reasons that people do this. But friends, when we start to get caught up in those emotions, they trigger the ego because we start to defend ourselves because we have been triggered emotionally. So, if you get angry, okay, there may be a good reason, you can look at it. But if you stay angry, you've given up. You've become a tool of your ego that is powerful, that has taken you over, and you are as what I call lunch. You're lunch. I'm lunch. If you're fearful and you're just like, okay, I'm on the tracks and I see the train is coming, I think I better get off the tracks. That is a very good purpose for fear. Or something is wrong, I might get angry. If you do something painful to me, I will be hurt. Fine. But those emotions, when they stay intense and we're not whole and we get fixated on those emotions, we have opened the door for the ego to take over, for us to go back to being 2 years old or 5 years old. right?
Yeah.
So even though you can say, but of course I'm feeling this way, and of course I have to take care of myself, and of course, and of course, and of course, and of course. Well, look a little deeper and see if you have started to be dominated by ego, which says you're separate, you're alone, and you have to fight for yourself, or you've got to find other people to join with you to fight for you.
And even if you're not physically alone, if you have other people in your life, a partner and so on, there'll still be a tendency for your ego to want to dominate, to control, to make your needs met, get the other person to meet your needs.
That's right.
And then your ego triggers their ego, and now you've got ego conflict.
That's right. And the sad thing is that the ego thrives on separation. Remember, ego is the awareness of our individual existence without the awareness of our oneness and our unity and who we really are. So that's the problem. And the ego will always try to make you feel scared, angry, in pain, alone, something that will allow it to take over and get in the way of your higher consciousness. And more about that to come, but I think I'd better wrap it up for tonight. So tonight, I've talked about the ego and where it comes from and how it relates to our instinct for survival. And I've just given you a little overview, and I've also given you a little tip. If you don't want to be dominated by your ego and you want to become, you want to start using your consciousness and your awareness to build a better world, then watch your emotions and see if you're getting carried away with any feeling, and if that isn't opening the door for the ego to take over and to dominate you, and then you have lost all of your power, and the only thing that has power is the ego, and the ego is not taking care of you, because the ego exists to support itself, not you as an integrated being. So next week, come back, because I will continue with the discussion of the ego. And please share this program with everybody. I'm putting it out in a very commonsensical way. I hope that everyone can understand. Put it out there, like the show, love the show, leave your comments. I will respond as soon as I can. Subscribe to it. No, follow our page, and go to the HealingArtsNetwork.org.
Where you can get a free download of Living with Reality.
That's right. This is an incredible book, I'm telling you, and
it's a manual for personal self-transformation.
I mean, I'm not kidding. It's a long book. But it's very easy to read, and there's a study program that's on our network in the transformation section. And
what's that network address again?
Healing Arts, plural, network.org. Come back next week. Let's fight the domination of the ego together.
So we can liberate our true selves.
That's right. So we can empower ourselves instead of our egos. I will see you next week, every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and Thursday night, come back, and I'll be playing the piano and James will be singing. So
yes.
I think that's it. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks very much.
We love you.
Glad to have you with us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.